Next on stage, we've got the owner of Australia's largest and only flower auction. He's a self-described nerd. He's also known as the flower guy. Please give a warm welcome to Nick Christensen.
Thanks, John. Hello. Sani Banani, Molo, Halo, Fabella, Demella, Lamella, Aboshani, Sani Bona, Avawani, Sali Banani. Hello, Pretoria. I'd like to share with you two small stories that hopefully will have a huge impact on you. But first of all, I'd like to understand, why are you here? Why did you come? It's the weekend. Why did you come? Did you come to absorb the goodness from the world-class speakers and JT Fox? Possibly. Did you come because you want to get your business further ahead? Maybe. But I think it's something more personal than that. I think you came because something is missing. Something is missing in your life, possibly in your personal life or your business life. I know for me, when I come to these sort of events, I go because I'm looking for something. Well, out of my two stories, hopefully I can give you two key things that will help you unlock some of those things. So my first story, I'd like you to come with me and I will share with you. It was the day that an inland tsunami destroyed my business. When I say the word tsunami, how many people think of like a big, tall wave that's like 100 foot tall and is that what you picture in your mind? Yeah. And it's got the rock going up an inflatable up the other side. That's what I pictured. But the tsunami I'm talking about is not that. The tsunami I'm talking about was a wave that was long and that was deep. You see, I live in Brisbane, and Brisbane's on the coast. And above Brisbane, up on a tableland, is Toowoomba. Now, up in Toowoomba, they raise cows, and it's a farming area. There's no rivers up there, but it is mountainous as well on the sides. We'd had 4 months of rain in Brisbane up until this time. The day that my life changed was Monday the 10th of January 2011. The rain kept falling and we're all starting to think, maybe we're going to flood. You see, the problem was there was so much rain falling and the ground was so soaked that every time the raindrops would fall from the heavens, it would just bounce straight off. And that's how the wave got created. And this wave was building, and all of a sudden, it just filled up everything. And this wave was long, it was like this brown monster. And it just came, and it came, and it came, and it was unrelenting. And it smashed everything in front of it. A little town called Grantham was first to go, and unfortunately, people died. So it was sort of like when you had your flooding in Joburg and Gauteng, and also a couple of years ago in Linkfield. But it was about 10 times the amount of water. So whatever comes off the top of a mountain range, where's it going to go? And what's down there? The city of Brisbane. So Monday morning, I'm standing in the marketplace. I sell flowers to florists. And I'm 4th generation in that. And I'm standing in the markets, dealing with my customers, and I'm looking at the TV screen, and there's the Premier, Anna, and she's looking straight down the camera and she says, I'm not going to lie, we're in trouble. That's the moment I knew something's going to happen. So we evacuated, we pulled everything out, moved on. The flood hit Brisbane that Monday night, and Tuesday morning we're sitting in my house, all my staff, my wife, my dad and his wife, because they lived on the river, they came and stayed with me. And we're watching on the TV, and there's the Channel 7 helicopter, and just panning along, and we're looking, there's the markets, and it's coming to the flower building, and right there's our building, in a beautiful sea of brown lake where the car parks were. I think we've got a problem here. That doesn't look good. So the next day I got on my 4-wheel drive, the floodwaters had subsided, and I was able to drive into the markets, up the wrong way, up the motorway, back down. And as I drove in, I'll never forget this, I'm driving in and I'm looking at the petrol station where I filled up my car every day for like 12 years. And at the 3-metre mark, there was this ugly line, like a brown line. That's where the water level went to. And below that line was like someone had spray painted everything with this yucky, grey looking paint. It was the mud from the water after it receded. So I drove in, and at the main gate there's a 40-foot container sitting on an angle up against a light pole, like it's supposed to be there. So I drove in and I'm walking around my building, and as I'm looking, we had about $300,000 worth of cool rooms, and I'm looking and the cool room was lying down. I'm going, that's not good. That was the day, that was the very moment that I went, I'm gone. I don't have $300,000 in the bank to rebuild. You see, my business was doing okay. 54.7 million rand, not bad. Turning over, successful. But as I was standing there in all that devastation, something inside me just clicked. Remember yesterday we talked about showing up and finding a sense of your true self? Something happened to me that day where all of a sudden I went, right, I have to protect my family. I have to serve my customers. I have to serve my growers that send flowers to me. What do we do? So over the next 3 days, we completely redefined our business. We flipped it. Now remember, my business was only 5% online before the flood, and we're trying to make it 100% in 3 days after the flood. How many people think I could do that? I didn't think I could do that. You actually thought I could do it. Thank you. I was there going, we could do this, but will the customers come with us? Will they follow us there? I didn't know. Pause that there. The second story is a happier story. It happened in 2008. There was a cartel in Brisbane that controlled orchids out of Singapore. This is a true story. And they had flat pricing, so I couldn't compete. I couldn't actually sell the orchids at a good enough margin to my customers because they were controlled by the mafia. So I thought, right, I'm not going to let these guys beat me. I'm going to take immediate action and work out how to solve this problem. So I looked in all the boxes every time a shipment would come in. I was looking for any clue, where could I find these orchids? And about week 5, I found a Malaysian newspaper. Malaysia, not Singapore. 3 days later, I was on a plane. 2 days later, I flew from Kuala Lumpur to Johor Bahru. And the day after that, I was standing on the biggest orchid farm in Malaysia, Hokwi Nurseries. The 2 stories I've just told you are stories of innovation. They come from 2 different sides, and here's the key. The flood ruined me, and I was in absolute desperation. The cartels and the orchids, that came from a sense of, they're not going to beat me. I was inspired to find a solution, and that took me to innovation. Where do you think the most lasting innovation comes from? Anybody? Yeah, exactly. How many people here have been in pain? All of us, right? We're all human. Guess what? That is your biggest strength. This country has a lot more pain than my country. If you can tap into your pain and you can get into a state of despair, let me tell you, that's where the secret sauce is. No business coach is ever going to tell you that. But if you can tap into that time when you felt the worst in your life, and if you can then overlay your business into that chain of thought, and then you go, right, back to zero-based thinking. What would I do differently? I've lost everything, draw on that painful feeling, and then make a list of how you would set up your business and what you would do. That, what I had to do in the floods, that is the reason why I'm still here today. Anybody interested or curious about how many customers we kept? 97%. So how lucky are we? That was lucky. But here's the takeaway as well. I'm 4th generation in the flower business. I know my business. You want to talk flowers? Come and talk to me. I can talk flowers all around the world. But the thing is, I had a global belief of what was possible and what was not possible until the flood. And if you'd come to me on the Friday before the flood and said, hey, Nikki, you know those problems you've got? You just need to stop selling in the morning and start selling at night. You just need to start packing the orders at night. You need to run an auction Sunday night, not Monday morning, so you can get in-store quicker. I would have laughed at you. You don't know what you're talking about. That's exactly what we did 5 days later, and that's what now works, and that is why I'm still ahead of the game, because I took the steps that I had to. A lot of people ask me, how do I keep making decisions quickly? And that's why I call this version 1 is better than version none. If ever you get in a position where you go, which way do I go, left or right? The answer is it doesn't matter, just go. Because your first version is never going to be as good as your 10th version, correct? Just make the decisions as you go. Think of this like a pilot. A pilot takes off from an airport with a flight plan to get here. I left Singapore hoping I would land in Johannesburg. I did, thanks God. But when that pilot did that flight plan, that was his first version. He got up, we had to go around some weather, we had to then go around in circles for some traffic, and then we landed. I bet you we landed with his 7th or 8th version. Do you see my point? Don't be afraid to start somewhere with the targeted view and then make all the changes that you need to along the way, because you will still arrive at a spot. That's what I hope you get from me today. Get to despair and then innovate. Make sure that you take the step, and the way to do that is version 1 is better than version none. Thank you, Pretoria.
Thanks, Nicki.